Yeah, good morning. Last session we learned about styles and various methods of writing styles. So we learned about what is minification, and what is CDN. These all things. Now, after understanding the basic of in how many ways we can write the styles, inline, embedded, and CSS style sheets, and what are the media types, and what are the MIME types defined for CSS and all. After understanding, we need to learn about style syntax. We need to know about style syntax, means how we write styles for elements. Generally, if you are writing inline, inline style syntax, inline style syntax will be like this. Already we know we are writing some heading. For heading, we have to use an attribute called style. To that attribute, we have to apply style attribute. We have an attribute. We generally call it as style attribute. Style attribute colon value. If there are multiple, then we have to apply semicolon and another style attribute and colon value. This is how we write the styles if we are writing inline. So we have to use style, style attribute, and style attributes value. Now, for which element it is going to apply? For which element it is going to apply? It is going to apply to heading. For which element you written, it will apply for that particular element. That means it is going to apply for heading. So you don't need to tell to which element to apply. By default, it applies to the current element. So this is simple. But when you are writing style embedded or external file, when you are writing style embedded or external file, means in a separate file. So here we have to write our styles in a block. But the point is, for example, first I am showing you, here we have to write style attribute and value, and semicolon, any number of style attributes and value. Now the question is, to which element they will apply? To which element these styles are going to apply? Now that is decided by selector. That means selector tells where to apply these effects. Whatever the attributes you written, where to apply those effects. That is decided by select. So we don't need selector when we are writing the styles inline. So generally, if anybody says that CSS selectors are mandatory, they are not mandatory if you are writing styles inline. Inline, we don't need a selector. Selector is required only when you are writing the styles embedded or external, because you have to tell to which element you need to apply. And the CSS selectors, so many are there. And we will detailedly learn these selectors, because these selectors we have to use in future in jQuery also, not in JavaScript. JavaScript different. In jQuery also, it uses the same type of selectors. That is the reason you have to learn about these selectors very well. So let's see, even in JavaScript also we use, but rare. Majority we use these type of selectors in CSS and jQuery. So the point, how we define the selectors. What are the CSS selectors? First, you need to know the primary CSS selectors. You have to know the first primary CSS selectors. Primary CSS selectors. What are the basic primary CSS selectors? Primary, or you can say basic. What are the primary CSS selectors? Already you know them, but detailedly I will tell you. Already you know them. We used in various examples. We have primary CSS selectors. We have an ID selector. We have type selector. We have ID selector. We have class selector. Class selector. These already we know. So we have a type, ID, and class. We have these three are called primary selectors: type selector, ID selector, class selector. Now what is difference between them? We will see. What are these selectors? First, important, type selector. Type selector is nothing but it defines the element tag name. It defines the element tag name. So for which element you want to apply, it defines that element tag name, elements tag name. So here, what is good, what is bad is, now wherever the tag comes, it will apply that effect. So here, type selector, it defines the tag name. But what is problem is, I will show you here. Suppose I am writing, so heading, and three headings are there, and for heading 2, I given background color yellow. Now when I run this, it is going to apply that for all headings. We have a style sheet. I will remove that style sheet also. I will just put here as color white, color red, and border 2 pixel solid black. Okay. It will apply for all headings. So here important is, I don't want this to apply to second heading. There is no chance. It will apply to all. That means wherever that heading occurs, it applies those effects. There is no chance of ignoring effects. That means you cannot ignore the effects. So if I don't want heading, for example, at the top I written web technologies. For web technologies, I don't want that effect. I want some other, but it will apply for that also. So that means when you apply effects, the effects are applied to all elements that are using that tag. You cannot ignore them. Now here, when you are defining the effects, if you want to ignore, this is not great. This is not suitable. You can group effects. How you group effects? By using comma. For example, suppose we have some paragraph. It is a markup language. So JavaScript, it handles client side interactions. And here, so it is client side library, something. Now I want the same effect to apply for paragraph also. Then you can simply put a comma. So you can write any, here you can just put a comma and you say paragraph P. Now the same effect will be applied for heading and paragraph. So you can see same effect is applied for both. Remember, so many points are there. Don't get hurried into questions. First listen. If you listen the concept of selectors till the end, then you will get answer for every question. Because some people are very excited immediately. They ask how to apply this. I will tell, right? Lot of points are there. Lot of points are there. We will discuss about that. So here initially, two basic things. When you apply the type selector, the problem is it applies to every element that occurs in page. It applies to every element that occurs in page. Every element that occurs in page. So you cannot ignore for any specific element. You cannot ignore for any specific element. That is the problem of type selector. Problem of type selector. Generally, how we do? We write like this, some heading and some set of effects, or some paragraph, some set of effects, or some table, some set of effects. Like this we write. I'm just giving a basic syntax. So here we write like this. For heading, some styles. For paragraph, some styles. For table, some styles. Sometimes we can group them. So you can group elements. You can group elements, like you can write for heading 2 and for paragraph you want some effects. You can apply the same effect for heading and paragraph. That depends on your requirement. If you want to group, so you can use this option. So what is problem with type selector is, type selector will apply to every element. So that means that's also good. Suppose I want to apply to all paragraphs in the page, then this is best. You don't need to use any other option, but sometimes not great. So that is the reason we use another important, that is ID selector. ID selector. ID selector. ID selector, what are advantages and what are drawbacks? ID selector is nothing but ID is defined by using hash. ID is defined by using hash, and it is accessed by using ID attribute. It is accessed by using ID attribute. That means hash. So here name, and here some effects you written, and for heading you can access that by using ID whatever name you given. So this already we already practiced this in so many occasions, right? But what is good for this? Good about this is good about this is you can apply effects. You can apply effects only to the required element. You can apply effects only to the required element. To which element you want the effects, you can apply effects only to that required element. So we can apply effects only to required element. That's good. That means you can call and apply to only the element that you need. But problem is ID has some problems, issues. What is the problem with ID is every element can have only one ID. Every element can have only one ID. That means what is problem is every element can have only one ID. If every element is having only one ID, then what is issue is sometimes we write effects in several groups. Generally, we write effects in groups. That means like I will show you. That means what is the problem with this? You cannot apply multiple groups of effects to single element. You cannot apply multiple groups of effects to single element. You cannot apply multiple groups of effects to single element. That is problem with ID selector. I will show you here the point, what is the problem, what is this means. See, now I am giving here ID selector is defined with hash some name. Generally, as developers, when we write some CSS effects, we categorize them. That is always good because we have to reuse them. For example, like I said, back effects. In back effects, I will give only background color. I will give only background color, so that I can apply these back effects anywhere I want for a table or a paragraph. That will be good. Only back effect will be applied. Now I am adding another ID. So text effects. Text effects, I will give color as red and text align center, so that I can apply only text effects to any paragraph or any another content whenever I need. Similarly, we have border effects. Border effects. Border effects, here I am giving some border as 2 pixel solid and some black. So black, yeah. And I given as padding as 5 pixels like this. Now the point is I can apply this to any other element whenever I need. Only border I need for any element with 5 pixel padding, I can apply this. But I want all these 3 styles to apply for heading. I want those 3 styles to apply for heading. Not possible. We cannot apply. That is the problem with ID selector. That means what I can do here, see, I am using ID. ID selectors is accessed by using ID. And here I am referring to back effects. I am accessing back effects. So I will save this. You can see background effect is applied to it. Good. Now I will go to the code. Here can I write one more ID? Not possible. Not possible. That means every element can have only one ID. and I am writing like some text effects, hash not required, text effects, and you see it's not working. Text effects not working. So I will try another way. For this ID only, I will put comma and text effects, and see it is not working. I am using some space, back effects, space, text effects, ID, no use. Only one ID you can apply. Then if you categorized the effects, then it is not possible. So that means this is okay if you are applying a single set of effects. ID selector is okay if you are applying single set of effects. If there are multiple groups of effects to apply, then it's not possible. We cannot do that. So that is the problem with ID selector. ID selector. So you can apply effects to the required element. That's good. That means if I want the effect to apply for paragraph, I can just call ID and I access here border effects. Remember, those IDs are case sensitive. Exactly, you have to write in the same case. Now you see border effect applied. You can apply only one. That is the problem with these effects. That means ID selected. So ID is good if you are applying a single set of effects to any element. But if there are multiple categories, it cannot handle. That for that we have a solution. So we have a class selector. We have a class selector. And important in CSS, the same ID can be used for any number. That doesn't matter. That means it's not like unique. That means I given here ID is equal to back effects. I can use that for the paragraph also. ID, this also can use back effects. That means same ID can be used by so many. Anyone can use. Only the point is you cannot apply multiple. Same can be used by others, but you cannot apply multiple. That is the problem. Class selector will solve this problem. Class selector generally it is defined by using dot. It is defined by using dot. It is accessed by using class attribute. It is accessed by using class attribute. Dynamically it is accessed. This also you have to remember. Dynamically it is accessed by using class name property. That means in HTML we use class, but in JavaScript if I want to access these classes, or in jQuery JavaScript, in JavaScript if you want to access, then you cannot use the word class. You have to access by class name. Currently you don't need class name. Currently you need only class. So it is accessed by using class attribute. Fine. Now this is the class selector. What is advantage? Advantage is you can apply multiple classes to single element. You can apply multiple classes to single element. That is the advantage of class selector. That means you can apply multiple categories you can apply multiple categories of effects to one element, That is possible. You can apply multiple classes to single element, which is not possible with ID. So see syntactically how we define. So dot class 1 and some effects. Similarly, suppose I have dot class 2 and some effects. And I want to apply these two classes to heading. Then we use the attribute class, first class 1 space class 2. Multiple classes are applied by using space. Multiple classes are applied by using space. Not comma or any another symbol. They are applied by using space. So that is class selector, how we can configure the class selector. What is advantage of class is the advantage of class. It allows you to define multiple categories. You can use any one for any element, or you can use multiple to any element. So there is nothing like which one is best. Don't think that class is best. Why? Because later class is not required if you want to apply to all. To apply all elements, then again you apply class, that is risky. So if you want to apply to all, then we don't use class. So that depends on requirement. That means for several elements, for all elements we want, then better go with type selector. Only one set of category of effects, then ID. So you can apply multiple here. See, now what we can do here, we will change this into dot. Remember, for one element, you can apply ID and class both. I will tell you those rules later. Rules we will learn later. First, we will learn about the selectors, then we will discuss about the rules. Right. Now, three classes are there, and I want to apply them to the first heading. Then let's go to the first heading. And here, instead of ID, we are using class. Now, one is back effects, the background effect working fine. Then I am using border effects, and you can see border effects also working fine. There is no order for classes. You can apply any class anywhere. And another one, text effects. I am using text effects, and you can see it will apply those text effects also for that. That means all three are applied to that particular element. So it depends on your requirement. You can apply anywhere. For a paragraph, if you want only color, text effects, then what you can do for this paragraph, we can just write class as text effects. I'm using only text effects. Only text effects will apply. It depends. If you want, you can apply all. So what is the advantage of class? It can categorize your effects and you can apply them. So multiple effects can be applied to single element. That is the basic. These are the three primary selectors. We have an ID selector, we have a type selector, and we have a class. We can write various combinations. Already I told you. So some basic rules I will tell you. The basic rules. What are the basic rules? General rules you know. Already I told you like yesterday. So if element is defined with type, ID, and class. If element is defined with type, ID, and class, then which selector is used? That is a question, right? If element is defined with type, id and class, then which selector is used? Which one it will use? Already I told you yesterday, if all the three are having different effects, then all three will work. That means id, through id you given one effect, through class you given another effect, to type you given another effect, it will work all. But if you are giving the same, then what will happen? Let's see here. I will remove these effects and all, clean, remove these effects. Okay, now here I am applying technically one effect id I am giving. Suppose I said heading 2. Heading 2 is type selector, so color is red. That means all headings will be in red color. Fine. Now I given so hash text effect, and here color as some green. This is id, and dot text effects, that is class, and I given color as blue. Now for the first heading I am using id is equal to text effect, and the class is equal to text effects. I applied all the three. That means type selector is already working on it, id also I applied, and class, all are having same effect, color. Then which one it will take first? Actually the first priority is given for id. The first priority is given for id. First priority is given for id. That means you see id applied. That means not type. It is the first priority is always given for id. Suppose I am not writing id, then it takes the priority for class, and if id class are present, it will take id only. So if class is also not defined, then type. That means what is the priority order? So first is id selector, second is class selector, and third is type selector. And if all three are having different effects, then all effects are applied. So if all selectors are having different attributes, then all attributes are applied to element. If all selectors are having different attributes, then all attributes are applied to element. All attributes are applied to the element. So that is the basic rule. And that priority inline embedded external file, yesterday I told you. That means if you write inline, and if you write embedded, and if you write external file, first priority is for inline. That's already we discussed. This is out of these three, which one will be first? Generally many people think about type selector. They think that it will apply for type, but the priority is given for id, class and type. That is the order, right? These are basic selectors, how we can define. Another point is you can group you can group the combinations also. You can group the combinations. That means we can write hash some name, we can define hash some name, or you can put dot and some class name. Like this you can write. Means ID and classes also can be grouped, just like type selector I group. Just like type selector, ID and class. For both ID and class, same effect you can write. That means if he is using class or ID, it will work with the same style, same style. So such type of combinations also possible. We will see in future while writing, we will have to use those combinations. We will see. Initially, these are the basic rules. First point. These are primary selectors. First, you need to know about these selectors. Next, after understanding these primary selectors, next important category, we have rational selectors. We have rational selectors, or you call them as combinators. Rational selectors or combinators. We call them as rational selectors or combinators. Rational selectors or combinators. This is important. Actually, rational selectors and combinators, these are used to, that means generally they apply effects based on parent and child hierarchy, apply effects based on parent and child hierarchy, or adjacent and general siblings. Apply effects based on parent and child hierarchy or adjacent and general siblings. I will tell you what they are. So what is the meaning of parent, child, adjacent, general siblings? We will see. So in these rational selectors, rational and combinator selectors, we have number one, child selector, descendant selector. We have child selector, descendant selector. We have combination of child and descendant selector. First we will see them. Better one by one we will see. Because so many are there. Combinations we will see. First, child selector. Actually, child selector is nothing but, see, I am configuring some effects. So let's see. Parent and child hierarchies. Suppose we have ordered list, and ordered list having list items. This is parent child. That means ordered list is parent and list item is child. It's not necessary that they should have that nature. For example, suppose you written a div and in that we have a paragraph. Now div is parent and paragraph is child. That's combination actually. That means we call combinators. We use a combination of parent child. It doesn't necessarily to be the actual child combination. Like select have options, ordered list have list items, table have rows, like that. You can create your own combinations of parent and child. So that means now this div is parent and these paragraphs are child inside that parent. Now I want to apply some effects here to these. parent-child hierarchies, right? See, suppose I will just give you a div in that para 1 and para 2 and para 3. Para 3. Now I have another combination, like I'm using a block quote. Block quote. In that block quote, I have paragraph. So like para 4, and we have another para, that is para 5. Like this we are having. So that means I have paragraphs in a div and paragraphs in a block quote. Now if I write here P and color is red, it will apply to all paragraphs. It will apply to all paragraphs, whether it may be in div or it may be in block quote. It will apply everywhere. That means you can see all paragraphs will turn to red. Of course, block quote have left indents, it is showing that. Now I want to apply only for the paragraphs inside div. I don't want to apply for the paragraphs inside the block quotes. For example, suppose you are using, say, ordered list or unordered list. OL is having LI and UL is also having LI. Then if I write LI, it will apply for both of them. But I want color to only ordered list, not unordered list. Then we have to tell about their parent also. If you tell about only child, it will apply to all similar childs. Then we have to tell the parent. Then here we have to write parent. Parent is div and space paragraph. Space indicates all child elements under that parent. Space indicates all child elements under that parent. That means under that parent, how many paragraphs are there? It will apply to all of them. All of them. That means I will save this now. So you can see it is applying to all. That means it will apply only for the paragraphs inside the div, but all of them. So this is one combination, that is the child selector. Child selector. That means what is the purpose of child selector? It applies effects to all child elements. Under specific parent. All child elements under specific parent. Under specific parent. Actually, this is called as not child selector. Actually, it is called descendant. We call it as descendant because when I say child descendant have little bit change. So better don't say child, call it as descendant selector. Child, what is that? I will tell you. One more combination is there. So name it as descendant selector. It is not child selector. I will tell you. So that means it is going to apply to all the descendants. Descendant means under it all descendants will come. Who is child? I will tell you. Child means, actually, descendant means everybody. See, now what happens is, I keep this block quote inside that div. Now paragraph 4 and 5 are also descendants. Descendant means they are present in the main parent only. They are present in the main parent only. So you see 4 and 5 also apply. Descendant means it will apply to any level. It will apply to any level. That means descendant selector applies effects to all chained elements under specific parent, and it can apply to any level. It can apply to any level. That is descendant. It can apply to any level. That means you have to define parent space child, and we have to write the effects. Parent, child, and effects. Examples I will upload today into classroom. Those examples you can get, right? So I'm just giving syntax here. Examples I will upload today. Styles related complete document. So parent space child, at any level it will apply. But I don't want like that. I want to apply only to direct child. Direct childs, not any levels. Direct child I want to apply. Then we should call it as child selector. Then we should call it as child selector. Child selector is, it applies effects to direct child. It applies effects to direct child. That means it will not span effects to multiple levels. It will not span effects to multiple levels. Multiple effects. Multiple levels. It will not span effects to multiple levels. It will apply to the direct child. And child selector is written like this: parent and greater than symbol, then child. This is how we write. Understood? That's how we write. That is direct child. Direct child. This is called direct child. So child and descendant little different. So we should not get confused with that. Descendant means any level. It is defined with space. Descendant can be at any level. So child means direct. So that means now you see here, I am writing div and the greater than p. That means now it is going to apply effects only to direct childs. It is not applying effect to paragraph 4 and 5. Why? Reason you know. Paragraph 4 and 5 are not direct childs. They are not direct childs. They are at second level, third level, fourth level. So multiple levels, if you want to apply any level child you want to apply, use descendant. Descendant means space. So here you can go several levels of direct childs also. For example, you can write like this. Suppose I want to apply for a cell in table row, in table body. Then if I write TD, it will apply to every cell. But remember, TD is present in TR. TR is present in, it is present in T head, T body, T foot also. Then we have to write like this. That means T body, in that TR, in that TD. Otherwise, it will apply for row in header, body and footer everywhere, because TR is used in header also, T head also we have TR, T body also we have TR, T foot also we have. If I write TR only, then it will apply everywhere. Then you have to tell another parent. That means you can have multi-level parents also. But it will apply only to the direct child. direct child. It will not apply to indirect. That means in that cell, suppose there is another table, it will not apply to that table. It will apply only to that cell. So that is generally child selector. Difference between child selector and descendant selector. Child selector is going to apply only to direct childs. Descendant is going to apply to any level, that is parent and child. This is one option. Another is adjacent sibling. Adjacent sibling. Adjacent sibling. Adjacent sibling. What is this adjacent sibling and how this adjacent sibling works? What is sibling and child difference? Difference between sibling and child is actually, for example, see. Now I am writing here a heading, some web technologies. Under this heading, we have paragraph, para 1 and para 2 like this. So para 3, some options I defined. Now I am applying here heading. So for example, I have another to make you clearly understand. Suppose heading 3. So here I said web terminology. Okay, some heading. And here we have para 4 and we have like para 5. Some options are there. Now we have paragraphs under 2 headings. We have paragraphs. Now I am writing heading 2 and so P and color is red. Now for which paragraphs this color will apply? It will not apply to any paragraph. It will not apply to any paragraph. Are these paragraphs inside heading? Then they are not child, na? Right? These paragraphs are not child. Child means inside. That means now you are using a child selector. It will not work. Even if I use space, heading space, they will not work. That means space and that greater than symbol, that is for only child. Now, if they are not child, what they are? They are siblings. Paragraphs are siblings. Siblings means after. Generally, sibling means you have a brother or a sister. Then you say they are my siblings. Siblings means they are after me or before me. They are after me or before me. They are not under me. Right? So that is siblings. That means now how we can define siblings? Adjacent sibling is defined by using plus. Adjacent sibling is defined by using plus. So that means this indicates to the sibling that is immediately after heading. The sibling immediately after heading 2. The sibling immediately after heading to who? The sibling immediately after heading. So after heading paragraph. But after heading paragraph, so many paragraphs are there. 3 paragraphs are there. But immediate sibling is who? Para 1. Immediate sibling is para 1. It will apply only for that. Adjacent sibling. Adjacent sibling means which comes immediately after it. Adjacent sibling means which comes immediately after it. So the paragraph that comes immediately after it. If I want everybody that comes after it, then general sibling, tilde symbol. Tilde is used as general sibling. General sibling means every paragraph that comes after it. every paragraph comes after it. That means you see it is every paragraph that comes after it. But here, very important. So we have heading 2, and every paragraph that comes after it, these also coming after it. These also coming after it. It will apply everywhere. It will apply everywhere. So that is the reason we have to use some more combinations if you want to restrict for others. We need some more combinations. So that means if I write like this, that means every paragraph that comes after it, every paragraph that comes after it, that means after it there are so many other headings. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So that is the reason what we do is for this we write an ID. For this we write an ID. And for the ID, I given as suppose technologies. Technologies is an ID. Then what we do is here, instead of heading 2, we write hash. Suppose I written as technologies. Technologies. You can write like this combination. It will apply to all of them again because ID is also same, right? Now what we do is for this we give another ID or you use another selector, and under that we apply another effect. For that I will tell you later some more options. Actually in styles we will have an attribute called, so we have not only this, we have an attribute like inherit. We have an attribute like so initial like this. We have an attribute like unset. By using these attribute values, we will clean that. We will remove that. That I will tell later. We will discuss about that later. So as of now, what is difference between plus and tilde? Plus and tilde is used for, plus is for immediate sibling, and tilde is used for all siblings at any level, all siblings, right? That is the point. So let's make a note. Adjacent sibling. It defines effect for immediate adjacent sibling. That means you can say element, immediate adjacent element after the specified element, after the specified element. That is adjacent sibling. So syntactically we write like this, some H2 and plus paragraph like this, adjacent. So it will apply only to the first paragraph that occurs after H2. That is the point. It will apply only to the first paragraph that occurs after H2. Next, general sibling. It defines effects for every element that occurs after the specified. That occurs after the specified. It defines any level. It defines any level. Heading 2 tilde P. You have to write like this. So it will apply for every paragraph after H2. For every paragraph after H2. So that is sibling. So these are all under the category of combinators. We call them combinations. Parent-child combination and sibling combination, adjacent and general sibling combinations. Combinators, or people also call it as rational selectors, we call them as. Next important category after that, attribute selectors. Attribute selectors. Attribute selectors. Next important, we have attribute selectors. Attribute selectors. These are also important, very important, because sometimes in HTML we present elements based on attribute, not based on tag. Based on attribute, element behavior will be changing. Attributes play the key role instead of tag. For example, suppose we have options like, means just basic point first I will tell you. Suppose we are designing a form. Let's take a form. I am designing a form. In the form, I just given some data list, data term. So username. So input. Another data term, password. So here input. Input. And here I have two buttons. So I will put here input and another input. Okay. Now you see, actually I'm using a tag called input, and input is a tag which is used for form elements. And generally people think that if I want a text box, then we have to use input type text. No, input itself is a text box. By default, input itself is a text box. That means if I say input, now it starts taking input. That means it behaves like a text box only. You see, now I am running this. I am running this. You can see all are text boxes. Input itself is a text box. Now I want first one to take only string as input. Second one, password as input. This third one, submit button, and this one, reset button. Then how you can make this to behave as string input? You have to use type as text. How to use password as input? You have to use type as password. How to make it submit button? Type as submit. How to make it reset button? Type as reset. That means the type of element is decided not by tag, by attribute. That means type attribute is deciding, is it a button or a text box or a password or a radio, input type radio, input type checkbox. So tag is not deciding the element. So I used input as a tag. That means all are input only. But attribute is deciding whether it is text box or password or submit button. Now this is how it works. Now you have username text box, password text box, submit button, reset buttons configured in this way. Now the point is, here I want to apply effects for all buttons. Or I suppose I given here this type is button, this type is also button, and this value is login, and this value is cancel. Cancel. Like this I given. Cancel. Like this I defined. Now important, I am writing here the tag name, input, and I will put some background color, yellow. So it is going to apply to all of them because all are input only. That means you can see it is going to apply for all. But I want to apply only to the inputs whose type is button. That means now I need to apply based on attribute of that element by using the attribute of that particular element. By using the attribute of that element, I need to apply. So that means how you can define attribute. So why we need attribute selector? Because the behavior of element so is configured by using an attribute, not by a tag sometimes. Sometimes paragraph tag, table tag, but text box attribute, password box attribute. Then we have to write the attributes like this. Tag name in the square brace, attribute name, attribute is type is equal to attribute value. If type is button, then apply this. This is called attribute selector. That means many times we have to apply effects based on attribute of a tag, not directly to tag. So then we need an attribute selector. So if type is equal to button, only for buttons it will apply. So that means you can correctly configure here. Configure. So why? Because same tag is used for all of them. The attribute is changing its behavior. So you need to apply based on attribute. Remember, you cannot directly write type as button, right? You cannot write like this because type is an attribute. Directly attributes cannot be written. Only you can write ID or class or tag, right? You cannot write attribute. Then you have to first write tag, and in the tag which attribute, you have to define that. So many points are there. This is one point. This is one point. So many points are there. We will see. First point, why you need an attribute selector. Attribute selector. So the purpose here is several HTML elements are presented. Several HTML elements are presented by using attribute of tag. Attribute of tag. Hence, we have to apply effects based on attribute and its value. Hence, we have to apply effects based on attribute and its value. Attribute and its value. So, syntactically like this, syntax will be like this. So, tag in the square brace, attribute is equal to value. And what effects you want. So here I given input, type is equal to button, and what effects we want. That's how we write. That is based on the attribute. That is based on attribute how you configure. There are so many other ways also. That means you can also define tag and attribute. Without value also you can apply effects. Without value also you can apply effects. I will show you that. What is the difference? we will see. And don't think the attribute means type text or type button. Any attribute you can use, any attribute of that particular tag you can use for applying the effects. For example, see here. So I'm applying here for the button. Similarly, suppose I have input type is equal to, suppose, password. If type is equal to password, some background color, some some light color, something like this. For password, it will be different color. Only for password, it have a different color. You can apply based on the attribute. Not only that, actually, suppose, let's delete this. I'm just configuring here. Suppose we have a paragraph and we have para 2 and para 3 like this, and we have para 4 and 5. Now the point is, these paragraphs, one paragraph is having an ID as P2 and another paragraph is having ID P4. Now I want to apply effects to all paragraphs that have ID. Then how do we write? Suppose I written like this. You want to apply to all paragraphs that have ID. Then if I write P in the square brace, ID is equal to P2, it will apply only 2 seconds. I want to apply to all paragraphs that have ID. Which ID? I don't care. If it is having ID, apply. Then we have to write in this way. That's enough. Understood? Now I will put here color as red. That means it will apply to all paragraphs that have ID. Value may be anything. You can apply based on specific ID value, or you can apply only ID is there, apply. That means if that tag is having ID as an attribute, apply. Which ID as value, we don't care. So in that case, so you can see it is going to apply for second and fourth. That means every time it is not necessary to give attribute value. You can give only attribute. It's not necessary to give attribute value. Attribute value if you want to apply to specific. If you want to apply everywhere where that attribute occurs, then better use it. You can give by class, by tag, anything. So you are applying based on the attributes. So generally example can be here like this. So you can configure like paragraph ID, or you can configure like paragraph which is having class. You can use any attribute, or it is having some width, or it is having some height, or if it is having some padding. Any attribute you can use, any attribute you can define. So that is attribute. But for attributes, we have conditions. So attribute selectors use conditions for values. Attribute selectors use condition for values. Attribute selectors use conditions for values. So what are the conditions? I will show you here. A condition and description. Let's put a simple tabular form, condition and description, how we write here. Now I am writing like, so attribute is equal to value. What this condition means? That means equal to, understood? That means it should exactly match equal to. That's what we are using now. It is equal to. That is the condition. You have several conditions here. You can write the condition attribute here exponent caret equal and value. This is starts with. You can use attribute and a dollar equal value. This indicates ends with. So we have attribute asterisk equal and value. So here it defines any location, any occurrence. It is used for any occurrence. All occurrences actually. And we also use, I will show you this. So we have an exclamation equal value. So uses space. You can also use like this. Attribute tilde equal and value. This also use space and hyphen. That means hyphen symbol. That's the combination actually. We will use the combinations, we will see. These are the conditions used for attribute selector. Use a space and hyphen. Combinations we will see. Generally, what is the condition, configuring the condition? Let's see here. Suppose we are having paragraphs and we are having 5-6 paragraphs we are configuring. So I am using some para 6. Okay. Now we are applying some here ID. So ID or class. Class is equal to effects is the class. Another is effects para. That is another. Another class is para effects like this. And class is suppose para effects. So class is like some para effects like this. I written so many options now. I written few names I configured. Now I want to apply to paragraph where it is using the class called effects. That means attribute is class is equal to what is it? Effects. Then I will put color as red. That means this indicates equal. You are using equal effects. Then for which paragraph it will apply? It is going to apply for first one only. It is going to apply for first one. So others are having a combination of some other word. Now I am writing here caret exponent effects. This indicates starts with. That means the class starts with the word effects. Actually, it is for 2. I hope you can observe that. That means one is effects, another one is effects para. That means sometimes your attribute may be a part of lengthy word. Then if you know a part of it, then you can apply. You don't need to know the complete word. That means in a lengthy word, you want to apply any location, just you can define the query. Suppose I defined here as dollar. If I define as dollar, then what does it means? Ends with. That means it will apply. First one will always apply. Why? Because it is starting with, ending with. That is not a question at all, right? Yeah. So here you see now it is applying to all. Why it is applying to all? It is not applying to second one. So because second one is starting with, it is not ending with. Others are ending with. First one is also starting and ending. This is also starting and ending. Now if I define asterisk equal, it will apply everywhere. That means wherever it comes, it will apply. Generally, we have the pipe symbol equal. It will apply to the first one. Actually, it is for space. We have version compatibility problems are there. Now recently, we are using CSS4 now. So we are working with some CSS4 advanced selectors we are learning. CSS3, CSS4, some compatibility changes happen. So what happens here is, if I use tilde equal, so this is the combination. You see, it applies where you have used the space. Where you have used the space. That means it will apply for the space. But actually earlier, space was used with combination of this. And it is used with the space. Now it is done with tilde. Better to use this tilde. But observe here, I told you hyphens. Actually, hyphens will be treated only when it is starting with. So otherwise you have to use it as ends with. That means if it is starting with, then this will work for hyphens also. So, but important is, for example, effects I am giving para. For this, we already have another option. It's not working here because for that already we have an option. We have to use an exponent. This indicates starts with. Combination we have to use. One starts with, another one ends with. Now it will work. Right? Recently, what happened is some characters changes happened. That's the reason we don't prefer using that pipe anymore. So we better use tilde or use starts with or use ends with or use all. So that is the combination of characters. That is the reason this is now replaced. We don't need this. That means I will mark it as obsolete. Obsolete means no longer in use. But you will see in several websites, they will still give you. But you don't need to worry about that because now we have a replacement. We can use any another for that. So this is attribute selectors. These are all attribute selectors, how we can apply. Next, so many other selectors are there. Pseudo selectors, class selectors and all. That we'll see in our next session. Tomorrow we will do that. Okay. In tomorrow session, we will finish selectors part. Then we can start learning effects, backgrounds, borders, shading, how to give that. Tomorrow entire session it will take. So many other selectors are there. Right. Tomorrow we will finish selectors, then we start building them. Right. Tomorrow we'll continue.